Bueno, ¿qué tal a todos? Bienvenidos una vez más al Cuartel del Metal. Mi nombre es Federico. El día de hoy estoy acompañado por JOE de EVIL Invaders para hablar de su nuevo disco Shattering Reflection, ya disponible desde este 1 de abril vía Napalm Records. Hello again, Joe, my friend. Hope everything's good over there.
Howdy ho. Everything's fun.
Well, let's gear up for this conversation that we'll be having. So Shattering Reflection is out now. Congratulations. It's been about a week since the release. You've done a great album release show I've seen. You'll be playing some shows along Cryptosis and Schizophrenia. How are you feeling?
Right now, I mean, about the album, I feel good, but I caught COVID this week,
Oh,
so
no.
yeah, I had to cancel the upcoming 2 shows this weekend, so that's a bitch. But for the
Oh,
rest,
man.
I'm doing fine. You know, I'm just coughing a lot and sneezing, and there's a lot of stuff coming out of me, but
Oh,
for the
so sorry
rest,
to hear that. Are you working on rescheduling on the dates? How's that looking?
yeah, the usual
Okay.
bullshit that goes with it.
Oh shit. So sorry to hear that, but well,
Yeah.
it will take place. But the show, the release show was great. I've seen pictures. How was that like?
It was a total blast. It was really cool because
Awesome.
we put a lot of time in the stage setup and had the drum raiser really high and stuff. So it looked very old school.
Oh,
Let's say.
fantastic. Well, and I wish you a quick recovery from the COVID, so you can get back on stage where you guys belong. So this comes, Shattering Reflection comes as your third album, and there's a lot to discuss when it comes to the music. Such a diverse record, both in styles, rhythmics, riffs. Want to walk me a bit through the writing stages of the album and how that was like this time for you guys?
Basically, there's been 5 years between our previous record and this
Yeah.
one. So yeah, we've been touring a lot after the release of our second album, and we've been working on the times when we weren't touring. So we didn't have much time to work on songwriting, basically, and we were just writing demos by ourselves at home and didn't really have the time to come together as a band. So when COVID kicked in, we realized, like, holy shit, we have a lot of demos, because the time was flying by. We didn't realize it was already 4 years
Yeah.
since our previous release, and then we're like, shit, we got to do something right now because now we have the time. But then we were basically working on the demos from home by ourselves and sending things back and forth because we couldn't see each other because of the lockdown and all this stuff. And actually worked out pretty fine this
Okay.
way. Yeah, we had a lot of time to work on the songs because we didn't have to go to work and we didn't have to play
Sure.
shows. So that was the positive side of all this pandemic bullshit.
Yeah.
And yeah, when we had the demos done, we worked with Francesco Paoli
Oh yeah.
for pre-production of the record to have some adjustments in the arrangements and then have some ideas back and forth, like work on the songs together, basically. Also through Skype and basically using a screen share option with the sound and stuff, so we could see what he was doing with the tracks and we could make suggestions and then change things in the songs, and it worked really nice, actually. I didn't expect it because I always wanted to sit together physically with a producer because I never worked with a producer in the past. So I really had this idea, like, we should sit together and be in the studio for more than a month, you know, and work on the
Yeah.
songs like
The,
very
the, the old
intensely.
school way.
Yeah, exactly. But it wasn't possible now, and it was a total different approach. And it actually, sorry for that. It turned out pretty cool because sometimes some days we would work for 5 hours in a row, just like full focus, and other days we would do like a Skype for half an hour, have some ideas, and then okay, I'll work on this, you work on that, and we see each other in 2 days again, you know. And so he didn't have to fly over. There was no time pressure, and I think that was a very interesting thing, and I'm really considering working like that again in the future.
Oh really?
Actually, yeah, it was nice. I mean, obviously also with the physical aspect of it, but
Right.
I mean, it
Yeah, I
was,
think that as you said, there were certain positive sides to the pandemic. Well, one of them was even though we had it in the past, but maybe we didn't realize that we had all this instant communication abilities of sharing files, working through
Mhm.
Zoom, Skype calls, And certainly there was a lot of differences when it comes to the ways in which you worked on the record. And you mentioned something that's quite true. Your last record, Feed Me Violence, came out in 2017. Actually, I got to know you guys with that album.
Right.
And as the album name said, and also that cover depicted, that was, in my opinion, a more violent record. But in Shatter Reflection, I think we find a more refined version of yourselves, if one could say, without losing that violence, but paying more attention to details. So when it comes to the songwriting part of the music, in those 5-year gap, how do you think your music has evolved when it comes to the writing in particular?
Well, we just became better songwriters, I think, and better musicians as well. My vocals improved a lot, and I feel like I'm not limited anymore in what I can do. Well, in the past, I felt like I have my thing going on, but if I want to go out of it, it's always hard to sing very melodic, like vocal lines, you know. And now I've been practicing a lot, and also with this whole pandemic stuff, I had the time to say like, okay, now I'm gonna work on these vocal lines that I have in my head, and I'm actually gonna nail them. There's no other way than I'm just gonna do it. And I had time, so I was very persistent, and it turned out great, and I'm very satisfied with what I achieved. And I learned so much from as a musician, just from that. As a singer, I learned a lot of new techniques and stuff in this time.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy actually that it happened.
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely. And it's really awesome that you speak about the vocals, because I wanted to discuss that. It's fantastic to appreciate your vocal like adaptation to each song in this record, between songs like in Deepest Black, for example, and My World. I hear a lot of different influences, but I think you've developed quite a unique style with a really vast range as well. So I would like
My World is not me singing though. That's Max, our guitar player.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's why the vocals are quite different. But well, for example, like a trashier song like Eternal Darkness, for example, where you kind of go with that more raw vibe to it. I wanted to ask you, how do you read each song to know how to sing? You know, because I imagine each style demands a different vocal singing style.
Yeah, I just, as I said, I have a lot of different influences in what I do, and I get inspiration from thrash metal, but also from like hard rock and stuff. So I try to combine everything that's in between as well, and just create something new with that. And sometimes I just have a vocal line in my head that is not particularly the standard thing you would do on a song like that. Like, for example, starting off Eternal Darkness with a high vocal is not something people would expect. But I think it's a cool way to surprise people, because it almost sounds like a death metal song if you hear the intro and the way it starts.
Yeah.
But then contrasting with something very high instead of the low, heavy chok 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 gives a nice contrast, and it keeps the listener entertained, you know.
Yeah.
And I try to always find a bit of a solution out of the box, because it would be easy to go Slayer all the way on a song like that and just keep doing that, but I try to find ways to make it more interesting.
Right. And speaking of Eternal Darkness, I think that's one of the most craziest songs in the album. Well, the calm intro maybe, and then the crazy drum and guitar changes, the vocals, brutal song. So having this variety in this record, do you happen to like a certain musical style of yours for the best? Do you prefer maybe those more punishing tracks, more melodic ones? What do you think is your strongest link nowadays?
It's hard to say, because I like both aspects, you know, but right now it's very hard, because I love everything on the new record in its own way, you know. These were songs that were written through a period of 5 years, and you could clearly hear that they were written in different moments, like the demos, you know, and I can ventilate certain emotions in every song separately. So they're all you know, it's like, who's your favorite child, you know? If you have children,
choosing
it's hard, you know, like they're all cool, you know.
Yeah.
But I tend to like the new way we're going now, because it shows a total different side of the band, and I've been doing fast and heavy shit for a long time with this band, but I like contrasts, as I said. Like, maybe today I feel more like thrashing the place, tomorrow I feel like floating around, you know?
Because correct me if I'm wrong, but the first single was in Deepest Black, right? So coming out with that song, I mean, maybe fans were expecting like a super violent and thrashy song, and you came out with that. That's a great kind of power ballad type of song. and you really show that side of your music as well.
Yeah, that's as I said, I love contrasts. You know,
Yeah.
I like to surprise people.
Yeah.
And even though with the chance that people might have not liked it because it wasn't heavy, you know, I mean it's heavy, but it's not like fast and cutting and aggressive like our other songs in the past. I just thought like, but it's a good song, you know. If we love it, our fans are gonna like it too because it's us playing it and it sounds like us. It's not like we're trying to do something else. It just happened to be something else than what we did before, but it still sounds like us.
Definitely. And well, Joe, getting to a song like The Circle, after everything that went on in the album, is proof that you've seen it all, I think. You definitely get those King Diamond vibes with atmosphere. Also for the thematic kind of a Megadeth vibe with The Conjuring, you know, or that kind of themes. And it really shows different vocal styles, you know, a lot of stuff. Want to tell me a bit on how it was like working on that particular song?
That one was a bitch. It's like the first version had even more riffs and more weird changes, but it just kept on going and it didn't have an end. So in the end, I had to like work on it with Francesco and say like, okay, I think we're gonna need to cut some parts out and rearrange it all a bit, and we had to mix it up a bit because it just kept on evolving and it was becoming one big monster, but it wasn't a song. So we had to try to have some things coming back and make sure that it all worked out in the end. And then Max rewrote a little part as well, and suddenly it clicked.
Nice.
But it had been I think he had 20 versions of that song or something.
Yeah, because you know you get a lot of stuff in that track, but I think it blended quite properly in the end. So yeah, and a quite like I don't know if what the word is like, but you get that like uncomfortable sensation all the time when you say don't join the circle. You know, that stuff is fantastic. It's a great song. I love that track. Well, I wanted to ask discuss a bit lyrics on this album because certainly there's a lot going on when it comes to music, and you perceive, well, as we mentioned, the circle, then you go to In Deepest Black, for example. There's a lot to discover. In your case, how was it like working on the well, both vocal lines, melodies, lyrics, all that stuff together? How was it like this time?
A lot of fun. I really enjoyed this. I mean, as I said, like it was a new experience for me because I was exploring other ways and other approaches because I don't want to write the same album over and over again. You know, I didn't want to write another Feed Me Violence, you know, because I already did that. And I wanted to get out of my comfort zone as a singer and try new things. But with the lyrics and stuff, that it's just something that comes naturally. And like I have ideas sometimes when I'm driving the car, I'm like, hey, this would be a cool line. Or I get a concept in my head for a song as I'm writing it on the guitar, you know. And sometimes I just write down lines and put them aside, you know, like one day I'm gonna use this, and then I have this little book full of lines, and I'm like, this one might fit here on this song. And then I work from there in both directions, you know. Sometimes I just have a cool chorus for a song, but then I don't have a verse yet. Or I have a part of a verse, but I don't have a start of a song.
And do you work on those lyrics already having the music written, or do you just write what comes to your head when it comes to phrases and that stuff?
Yeah, I try both. Like sometimes I have a riff in my head, and then I have an idea for a sound. Like sometimes, like for example, for Sledgehammer Justice, the music was there, and I just did like, okay, let's see where this goes. I just pressed record and started improvising on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and just sounds, not even words, not just like blah, 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 ah! And I was like, oh yeah, this is gonna work. And then I was like, okay, so I need a word here that sounds like I. It needs to end on I. Okay, and then I start, you know, with these crimes. Oh yeah, okay, that works, you know.
Right. So inspiration comes in all kinds of forms for you.
Yeah, it's just playing with it, but also yeah, it's sometimes like for Forgotten Memories. I was basically babysitting my demented grandmother.
Oh.
And I was just sitting there and watching her, and suddenly she's like sitting there and she starts talking to somebody who's not there, you know.
Wow.
And that was very inspiring. And then I was like, whoa, that's heavy shit. So I started picturing like what's going on in her head right now and tried to understand. And just thinking of that made me come up with parts of the lyrics for Forgotten Memories. But it's not only about that song. There's a lot of stuff in there. I try not to write a song just about one topic. It's more like Forgotten Memories can be so many things. And there's part of dementia in it. There's a fight against time in there. There's a lot of different topics in most of my songs.
Wow.
Same for Die for me. It's generalized as a song, but there are different things in there, different scenes, let's say.
Okay.
There's a part that's about revenge. There's another part that's about like a psycho torturing somebody or like a rapist, you know. And then there's this cult leader vibe as well. There's a lot of things. It's not just one story in there. I try to keep everything as open for interpretation as possible.
Awesome. Well, yeah, and that really adds to the variety of the lyrical aspects as well, and really cool inspiration behind Forgotten Memories. I didn't catch that, so yeah, awesome. So Joe, to kind of start rounding up the interview, as we say, you definitely have a lot to display in this record, and maybe that implies a bigger challenge as well for you guys. So I wanted to ask you if at any point, concerning maybe your fans or the people listening to your music, did it cross your mind that maybe it could be a lot of stuff thrown together, or do you feel like this diversity was the thing that the band was lacking to reach an identity of its own?
I try not to think about all these things when I write music. I don't want to think like we should sound like this or we should sound like that. We just write and see what comes out of it, you know. And in the end, it was pretty hard to make a good track list from this record. But I think in the end, yeah, the songs are very different, all of them. But I think we ended up in a way that that it makes sense as a record.
Definitely.
The order. The only thing that I think is like, I'd rather have like a bunch of good songs on a record than a concept album, let's say.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's, especially these days, you just need good songs.
Absolutely, and for the live aspect of the music, well, you can tell me if you want, how did the new songs perform live the other day?
People were singing along already. It's crazy.
Awesome.
It was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Great. So, well, of course, there'll be a lot of shows to come. As we said, let's hope that you recover from that COVID shit as soon as possible.
Yeah.
And of course, now after the release of the record, I would like to ask you for the rest of the year, what will be the future plans for Evil Invaders? More maybe touring, of course, more maybe videos. What do you have in schedule?
I hope we can still make like at least 2 more video clips for to push some songs, and tour the hell out of this record. You know,
nice.
Wherever we can go, we will go. You know, so
cool. Well, let's hope to have you at any point here in South America. It would be great to thrash and of course sing alongside you guys. It would be
Where
amazing.
Exactly are you from?
I'm in Argentina.
Argentina.
Yeah. So cool. It would be great to a lot of heavy metal fans around here.
Yeah, we played there once. It was fucking cool.
Yeah. When did you come around here? I don't remember that.
2015, I think, or 16.
Oh, I don't remember that, but I think I didn't know you back then yet, because I knew
it was before Feed Me Violence.
Yeah,
that was
definitely
right before we released In for the Kill, I think.
Okay, well, let's hope to have you again with all this new music. It would be awesome. So, well, Joe, I'd like to thank you again for your time. It's been great chatting with you, catching up with the new Evil Invaders record. Any final words you'd like to give to those that have watched the interview?
Well, thanks for watching. First of all, check out our new record, and I hope to be back in South America ASAP.
Awesome. Well, man, thanks a lot, and be safe and recover soon.
Thank you very much, dude.
Awesome.